For those who have watched my channel in the past, you know that I usually cover things like electronics, hard science, stuff like that. But today I thought we'd do something a little bit softer because of some things that have happened to me recently. And I thought you would enjoy an experiment that we could all share. Yeah, this is super easy to do, but let me tell you the background for it. A few years ago, I sent an email to a friend just to kind of see how much they spied on you when you sent an email. And the note went something like, you remember the inheritance I had coming from Uncle Jack? Well, it finally cleared all the legal stuff. The $6 billion is now mine, minus legal fees and such. Likely going to get a PhD in 13th century French bronze statuary in France. Yeah, I know it's absurd, but that's the whole point, right? I'm also considering buying a sailing yacht, maybe spend 100 million on that, live in it while I'm in school, et cetera, et cetera. So that was the gist of the email. And, I wrote this to a friend of mine who was playing along. And the point of the email is to write things that are absolutely absurd, that are never going to happen in my life, things that I've never talked about before. They're very specific, so like 13th century French bronze statuary and getting a PhD in France, buying a sailing yacht as opposed to just any kind of yacht, and the price that I'm spending on it. Stuff I've never discussed with anybody else, and I've never gotten ads for before because it's just out of my tax bracket. So my friend wrote back and playing along, he said, that's nice, when do you expect to do all this, et cetera, et cetera. And within a week, I was getting ads to buy yachts in the sidebars. Nothing happened on the PhD, which is interesting, but okay. So it happens once, okay, that's a coincidence. But a year later, I did the same experiment, and I said, I inherited $100 million from Dad, thinking about buying a private jet. And you can probably guess what happens next. Yeah, within days, I'm getting ads for private jets and jet sharing services showing up in the sidebars along a website. So yeah, now it's happened twice. That's less of a coincidence. So just this morning, the wife and I are sitting watching YouTubes, and I asked her, do you still watch this XYZ YouTube channel? And she said, no, they kind of got repetitive, so it all started looking the same. And I said, I know what you mean. I haven't watched them for 6 months. And the conversation goes on. So within 20 minutes, I had 2 recommendations for that very channel from YouTube. And yeah, sure, we all know that they're spying on us, and they give us ads, content, and all that based on what we're doing. But, when you're just talking to your wife in the same room, I'm not asking my phone, we don't have an Alexis, anything like that, and I start getting recommendations. Well, that really strikes home. So I was wondering which app was listening in on me. Was it YouTube directly? Is it some free service that is listening in and then selling my information to a data broker that YouTube buys data from? I don't know, but I thought it would be an interesting experiment, because if it's just me, it doesn't really say much. It could be coincidence or something, I don't know. Maybe I've dialed into some app that's spying on me. But if all of us kind of do this, we could easily repeat this experiment. If there's 1,000 of us that do this or whatever, it would be kind of interesting to see the results. So the trick is to pick some things that are just absolutely crazy in your existence, So, an inheritance, an outrageous tax refund, a lawsuit that you won, you win the lottery, anything like that. You struck gold in your backyard. And then the shopping targets, the things you're looking to buy with this newfound wealth. Maybe you want, a solid gold Rolex, or you want to buy an airplane, round the world cruise, a helicopter. Hollywood mansion, or a mansion somewhere in New York or someplace. You want to buy gold, some big investment in gold. I want to buy $1 million in gold or something. Apartment buildings in some big city, Chicago or Houston or someplace. And then you either write to others about this who are going to play along with you, or you talk to others around a device. So either around your computer, around your phone. And then just leave your comments about what happens. Give yourself a week or two, because it doesn't pop in right away, especially with high-end stuff. But I hope there's a lot of us who will go out and try this little experiment and then leave the comments below, because I think the results could be pretty interesting. Well, in any event, I will check back on this in a couple of weeks and we'll see what happens.